going to blame Henry Gooley for our late audio start. This is Calvin Castine. We are at the Bowl Mart Lanes, visiting with Henry Gooley, and looked up, and all of a sudden James Tierney was ready to throw the first ball of the match. We're at the Bowl Mart on this 13th day of January 2003 for CVAC bowling, featuring the home team, the Northeastern Clinton Central School Cougars, and the visitors, the Moriah Central Vikings. The Moriah boys come in here in a dead heat with the Northeastern boys. They are tied for second place, 6 games behind the Alsabo Valley Patriots. Both teams with 39 wins and 25 losses. There are 8 games per meet. Both the A and B boys bowl 3 games. And then you go with total pins for the night also. So a total of 4 points for the A and 4 points for the B are up for grabs. Then you combine the two, and that's the team score. On the girls' side, there's only 5 bowlers, so they only have an A team, no B team, so there's only 4 points up for grabs for the girls. The Moriah girls coming in here in last place with just 2 games on the season, as Tierney puts it in the gutter. Northeastern girls a game behind Alsabo Valley, and they are tied. The Northeastern girls are tied with Beekmantown for second place as we're taping this on the 13th of January. Tierney will get 7 for the frame. His father, Jim Tierney Sr., will be here before too long, we hope, and will take over the microphone duties. A busy day for Hometown Cable. When we leave here, we'll be rushing to Shazy to pick up the girls basketball against Crown Point, already in progress. Josh Friend working on a strike, gets 9 on his first ball. Boisvert is up now for Alsabo. I'll give you the you see Friend missed his spare. He missed it by about a quarter of an inch. Tori Boisvert gets 8 for the frame. Bryce Gadway up for Northeastern. Let's see the averages for Moriah. Alan Evans, this is Stahl here, Isaac Stahl. Alan Evans has a 155 average. James Mavor up for the Cougars. James Boisvert has a 149 average. Isaac Stahl a 142 average. Jamie Velsini. Stahl gets 9 for the frame. Velsini has a 139 average, and Tori Boisvert has a 137 average. On the Northeastern side, as we watch Mavor get the spare, and we watch Allen, the anchor bowler for Moriah. They make up Chucker Chipola for the Cougars. Chucker Chipola is the high average with a 206 average, 0 handicap. Gets a split. A 6-10-7, 6-7-10 split. Allen gets 7 for the frame. Tierney will lead off the third. Here's Chipola looking for his spare. Gets the wood, gets the 2 on the right. 6-10. There's Tierney working on 2 opens, and he strikes. Let's see, James Tierney has the second best average for the Cougars with a 197. That was, I believe, James Boisvert, who just bowled. And this is Belsini. Jamie Belsini, he strikes. And I'll bring up Tori Boisvert. And we have Bryce Gadway over here for the Cougars. A friend for Northeastern snuck in there and got a strike while we were trying to figure out who was bowling for Moriah. Tori Boisvert gets 7 on his first ball. Getting back to those Cougar averages, Chipola 206, Tierney 197, Alan Mavor 186. Gadway picks up the spare. Josh Friend a 168.1. And Bryce Gadway a 167. Also among the top bowlers is Joe Hack, who's absent today. He has a 168.8 average. Mavor gets 8 pins. Bring up Stahl. Stahl will get 5 pins in his first ball. So the Cougar handicap is 48, 58, 60. 60 handicap. And the Moriah handicap is 204, as Mavor gets 9 for the frame. Get us to Stahl. And Stahl will pick up the spare. So the Cougars are spotting Moriah. 140 pins, 144 pins. I believe from what, there's a strike for Chipola, and there's Allen from Moriah. I believe from what I remember Jim Tierney saying, Northeastern lost 8-0 when they went down to Moriah. Or maybe they won 8-0. I know there was an 8-0 involved. And one week they went 8-0, the next week they were 0-8, and or vice versa. Boisvert gets 3 on his first ball. There's Allen, the anchor bowler. Boisvert is going to pick it up. Nope, he's going to leave 2. Here's Tierney working on a strike after the 2 opens to start the game. And, oh, he gets a late drop on the 10. He was happy to see that fall. Now Belsini. Belsini gets 8 pins, leaves a 6-10. And Tierney will pick up the 7 pin. So after 3, 411 to 258, Moriah leading. So they've right around where they started with that 140 pin advantage. Here's Friend. Friend with a strike. That gives him a double. 3 strikes out of his first 4 frames. Now Tori Boisvert. And he's going to get 8 pins in his first ball in the 4th frame. This game moving right along. There's Bryce Gadway. Gadway leaves a 10 pin. Pins dancing all around it. Boisvert gets a spare, and Gadway gets it, just barely caught it. Just before it went into the gutter, it caught that 10 pin. So a nice spare for Gadway. And that'll bring up Stahl. And Stahl leaves a pin. I don't think it's the head pin, although it could be. Here's Mavor for the Cougars. Mavor strikes. Mavor was working on an open. Mavor with a strike, spare, open, and strike. Now Chipola, who's working on a strike, he's also had an open. He started off the game with a strike. He leaves 3 pins in his first ball. And we got Allen picking up 6 pins in his first ball in the 4th. And here's Mavor, and he'll spare. Oh, Allen looking for the spare. He'd be the only one, second one to mark, and he doesn't do it. So only 1 mark in the 4th for Moriah. Cougars had everybody marking, 3 spares and a strike. So the Cougars they're carrying a little momentum into the 5th. Tierney gets a strike. After 4, the scoreboard says right now 472 to 347. So the Cougars have made up a little bit, but not a lot. There's James Boulvare, and he gets 9. There's Josh Friend for the Cougars, and he's going to leave the, looks like the 310 to my eyes, and I'm no expert here. There's a split for Velsini to pick up, and baby split here for, oh, we had 3 pins there. I thought he had only 2. Well, Friend gets 2 of the 3. So there was a double wood involved there apparently. That escaped my vision. So he was working on a double, and that leaves him with an open as Velsini gets 2 out of the 3 pins. Gadway will come up and strike for the Cougars. Gadway working on a spare. So let's see, at this point, it's about a 100-pin difference. Tori Boulvare strikes. The Moriah team needed that to kind of change their direction a bit. Here's Mavor. And Mavor strikes for the Cougars. So Alan Mavor, it's probably a double. It is, it's a double. Here's Stahl for Moriah. And he will strike for the Vikings. So back-to-back strikes for Moriah. And that'll slow down the Cougar momentum. Cougars also have back-to-back strikes. In fact, they have 3 strikes thus far in the 5th frame. And there's Allen, anchor bowler, both anchor bowlers up. Allen leaves a 10-pin. Now Adam Chipola. Chipola leaves a 10-pin. And he has improved at these, but that 10-pin has been his nemesis many times in the past because he's got that big hook. So it makes it very tough for him to pick up that 10-pin. It's his least favorite spare, and Allen misses his 10, and Chipola straightens it out and gets the spare for the Cougars. So through 5, with both teams carrying strikes into the next frame, it's 529 to 441, and Tierney triples, gives him a turkey, and James Boulvare, no, does not give him a turkey. Boulvare, Tierney had a spare between those other strikes. James Boulvare working on an open, gets 9 pins. Here's Friend, only one not to mark for the Cougars in the 5th frame. Double wood. So James Boulvare gets 9 for the frame, didn't realize he had double wood. Friend picks up his spare. So both Cougars have marked In the 6, here's Belsini, and he's going to pick off 5 pins on his first ball, bring up Gadway for the Cougars. And Bryce Gadway will hook and, get a Brooklyn strike. A Brooklyn strike for Bryce Gadway. That gives him a double. And Belsini will miss a pin and get 9 for the frame.
Shut your mouth, yes.
Mavor, who is working on a double. He strikes. Now Tori Boulvert. He gets, looks like 7 on his first ball. Yep, that's what the scoreboard says. I'll have to start checking that scoreboard because I missed a couple of double woods. Here's Chipola. He gets 7 on his first ball. He was working on a spare. And Boulvert will miss it. Looks like he couldn't quite figure out how that happened. Here's Chipola. And he will miss. Trying to come in from the side. He had double wood there. He had 2 pins back to back. He was trying to come in from the side and get a little action there. He ended up missing them all. Here's Stahl. Stahl gets 7 pins on his first ball. And James Boulvert starts the 7th frame off for Moriah with a strike. Moriah a little late getting here, the snowy weather. Belsini gets 4 pins on his first ball in the 7th. Allen wrapping up the 6th frame for Moriah. And he gets 9 on his first ball. Belsini will miss the spare, but he'll get 9 for the frame. There's Allen, and he will miss the spare. So it's 590 to 535 as Tori Boulvert bowls his first ball in the 7th frame. That's at the end after 6. It's 535 to 590, but there were a couple of Moriah bowlers who had already bowled in the 7th, so their fill balls have added to that total. Tierney strikes. Bren comes up. Boulvert gets his spare. Bren leads the 6-10. It's a late drop on the 7. So all in all, he'll be happy with that. Here's Stahl. Stahl gets 6 pins on his first ball. They'll make that 7 pins. Here's Friend, and he gets the spare. Right now there's about a 50 pin difference on the scoreboard, but there are a couple of Moriah bowlers ahead of the Cougars here as Allen gets, as Gadway strikes. Stahl got at 9 for the frame. Here's Mavor. Mavor leads a 7 pin. Allen has 8 pins down. And he spares. bring up Mabor. Right now, Mabor misses far and wide. The Cougars are probably in the lead here. 6:45 is what the Vikings have. 6:40 is what the Cougars are showing. But all it's going to take is 5 pins from Chipola to change that. And he gets a strike. So now the Cougars have the lead going into the 8th frame. Tierney will throw the first ball in the 8th. And working on the strike, he gets 6 pins. I'll get us to James Bovair. At this point, it looks like the B-boys are moving faster than the girls are, so we'll probably go to the B-boys next. Tierney looking for his spare, and he gets it. James Bovair with 7 pins on his first ball. CBAC varsity bowling. And Bovair gets the little action off the wall, gets the spare. And Friend gets a late drop on the 10. He gets the strike. Well, Josh Friend with the strike for the Cougars. And the Cougars have taken a 30-pin lead, but they have 1 extra bowler so far in the 8th. Belsini strikes. Now Gadway. So it's 6:96 before Gadway throws his ball, and he strikes. And with the same number of bowlers, Moriah had 675, so a 20-pin lead for the Cougars. Gadway with a strike. That's at least 4 in a row for Gadway. Here's Torrey Boisvert. He gets 7 in his first ball. He's working on a spare. Now Mabor. He gets 9 pins in his first ball. Bovair picks up the spare. Again, a little action off the wall. And here's Mabor. He's going to miss it. So he's got back-to-back opens. Twice in a row, he's got 9 pins in his first ball and ended up with an open. That'll get us to Stahl. Stahl strikes for the Vikings. Now Chucker Chipola for the Cougars. Leaves the 10-pin. Northeastern with about a 50-pin lead here in the 8th. Allen gets 7 on his first ball. Chipola going for that little elusive 10-pin, covers it nicely. So Chipola with the spare. $7.55 for the Cougars, with Allen getting just 9 for the frame, gives Moriah an open. They have 4 marks, however, in the 8th. James Bovair gets 7 pins on his first ball in the 9th. There's James Tierney, and he's going to leave the 10-pin. Tierney working on an open, has a 151 through 8. Bovair with a 134 through 8. He'll miss everything. And it gives him a 141 at the moment. Tierney covers the 10-pin. Now Belsini up for the Vikings. Here's Josh Friend. Probably appropriate that I'm coming down here to videotape the Moriah team on this particular day. I've been busy this afternoon trying to put together the finishing portion of the program. His friend just barely whiffs the program that we've done on the Tom Tyler comic book. Tom Tyler, the cowboy star who was born 100 years ago, back in 1903, in the town of Moriah. And we're putting out a comic book this year in honor of his memory with the great Sid Calci and the legendary Arto Monaco contributing the artwork. So we've been working on the finishing touches on that program we did about that. Boulevard gets 8 for the frame. Gadway looking to pick up the spare, and he will get it. I'll get us to Stahl. He gets 7 on his first ball. Maybor strikes for the Cougars. There's Stahl looking for his spare. And he will pick it up. Yes. Nice job. Now Chipola. Chucker Chipola with the strike. That gives him a strike going into the 10th. Allen, the last bowler in the 9th, gets 7 pins on his first ball. James Boulevard, starting the 10th frame, gets a strike. There's Allen, and he's going to miss it. Ends up at 9 for the frame. So 795 to 851. Cougars with that 50-60 pin lead. Boulevard gets 1 pin on his first fill ball. Tierney leaves the 10 pin. Tierney with a possible 190 will be below his average. Gets the spare. There's James Boulevard. He's going to go that same spot. Same spot. That right where the pin that he knocked down was. That's where he went. Here's Tierney, and he's going to get that 190. 190 always sounds a little better than 189. There's Belsini. Belsini leaves a 710. There's Josh Friend. He strikes. Well, let's see. James Tierney has a 197 average. He got a 190. James Boulevard has a 149 average. He hit a 152. Belsini gets the field goal right down the middle. So he'll hit a 105. As Friend doubles. Belsini carries a 139 average. That 105 is 34 pins below his average. Here's Rory Boulevard. He gets 6 in his first ball in the 10th. And Friend's going to have to reset it at a couple pins fall. They got to figure out what they got to do to make sure he gets credit for his fill ball. There's Boulevard. He spares. There's Tierney. Excuse me, a Friend. Josh Friend gets 9 on his last fill ball. So, oh, it fell. He did strike out. Boulevard gets 8 pins on his fill ball. Friend got late action there, and he struck out to give him a 179. Friend's average is 168.1. Gadway up now. Now let's see, Tori Beauvert finished with a 130. He carries a 137 average. So he's 7 pins below his average. Gadway carries a 167 average. League spares. There's Stahl. Gadway with the 167 is 12 pins higher than the highest average for Moriah with 155. Gadway gets 9 pins on his last ball. So let's see, Gadway finishes with a very nice 213. A nice 213 for Bryce Gadway. That's 50 pins or so above his average. Here's Mabor. Mabor strikes, gives him a double. Stahl with his fill ball. He has a 152 plus whatever he gets here. He's got a 162. Isaac Stahl with a 142 average, so he's 20 pins above his average. Mabor strikes. That gives him a triple with one more ball to throw. Total pins right now, it's 855 for the Vikings, 976 for the Cougars. So the Cougars working on a cushion for total pins as Allen gets 7 in his first ball in the 10th. Mabor strikes. So he gets 4 strikes to end the ball game. And here's Allen. Allen will spare. Yeah, no, will live the head pin. So Mabor gets a nice 203 to go with Gadway's 213. There's Chipola. Mabor a 186 average. So that's 17 above his average. Allen finishes with a 111. And that'll be 44 pins under his 155 average. Chipola picks up the double wood. There's a double wood spare there. I didn't realize there were 2 pins standing. Chipola with a 206 average is going to be below his average. But the Cougars are going to win this by about 150 pins. As Chipola gets 9 in his last ball. So it's 864 for the Vikings, 10-15 for the Cougars. Chipola finishes with a 170, 36 pins, lower than his average, but the Cougars have about 150 pin lead going for total pins, and they take game 1 in the A division. Charlie Martin is leading off for the Cougars as we've moved to the B match, game 2. Yeah, let's see, up first for the Vikings as Martin goes for his spare. He's going to miss it. Up first for the Vikings is Chris Duras. Carries a 120 average. Duras gets the spare. Martin carries a 130 average. Now get us to Jesse Garand. He gets 1 pin in his first ball in the second game. Let's see, now we got Cody Sleeper. I thought that was his nickname, but his name is Sleeper. There's Garen's second ball, and he's going to get 7 for the frame. There's Sleeper, looking for his spare. He covers it. So Sleeper comes in here with a 136 average, the leading average on the B team. Guerin carried a 121 average for the Cougars. Here's Baker. He gets 7 pins in his first ball, and now Fernandez for the Vikings. Matt Fernandez carries a 122 average. Ryan Baker for the Cougars carries a 150 average. And Baker leaves the 10 pin. I didn't see that 10 pin initially. Now Fernandez. And Fernandez will pick up the spare, which included a double wood. Now Jarrett Borey. Borey carries a 145 average. He gets 8 pins in his first ball. And Jeff Gajewski with a 122 average gets 3 pins in his first ball here in the first frame of the second game. Borey will miss his spare. Borey just had a 145 average. Gajewski 122. And Gajewski will get, looks like 8 pins for the frame. Now Ballard, Jeremy Ballard from Northeastern, leaves a 6-7-10 split. Ballard has a 167 average. And now here's Miro for the Vikings. John Miro with a 134 average. Ballard gets the 2, goes for the wood, gets the 2 pins, leaves a 7. There's Miro. He's going to just miss it by about 3 sheets of paper. Handicap-wise, it's a little misleading as DeRoche steps in. Ross for the Vikings and Martin for the Cougars step in to start the second frame. 8 pins for DeRoss, 9 pins for Martin. There's only an 8-pin differential between the allotted handicaps. So the Cougars are only spotting the Vikings 8 pins. Both players missed their spares. So that's a bit of a disadvantage for the Vikings because their actual handicaps would total up to another 35 pins. However, they allow a maximum of 45 pins for a handicap. This is Guerin. So instead of getting their full 260 pin handicap, all the Vikings get is 225. And the Cougars 217 handicap is their actual handicap. So instead of Northeastern spotting them 43 pins, the Cougars are only spotting them a total of 8 pins. So that's an advantage for the Cougars. Guerin will get 8 for the frame. There's Fernandez. Fernandez strikes. Now Baker for the Cougars. Gets 9 pins on his first ball to bring up Gajewski in lane 13. Somehow lanes 15 and 16 has fallen into disfavor. That used to be where the A team would bowl. Now the A team bowls on 11 and 12, and the B team on 13 and 14 where they were initially. And the girls used to be on 11 and 12. They've been bumped over to 9 and 10. Baker with the spare. Miro up for the Vikings. And he gets 8 on his first ball in the second. They'll bring up Borey. And Borey will get 9. Miro picks up his spare. There's Borey. He's going to put it in the gutter. Now Martin starting off the third frame for the Cougars. It's 7 pins. Here's Ballard for Northeastern. He's a 6-7 spare. Moriah leading by 40 to 50 pins in the early going. So they have out-bowled the Cougars. Martin ends up with open as Ballard finishes the second frame by picking off the 6-pin. Garen is busy visiting. Comes up now as DeRoss will bowl. Garen gets a strike. DeRoss gets 9 pins on his first ball. Now here's Baker. And Baker. DeRoss will go in the gutter. Baker gets a strike. So back-to-back strikes for the Cougars. So it cuts into the Moriah lead. Here's Borey. And Borey gets 8 pins to bring up Sleeper. Sleeper gets 9 in his first ball in the third. Borey picks up his spare. Sleeper will get the spare. There's Ballard. Ballard gets 9 pins. And Fernandez, working on a strike, leaves the 10 pin. So we have a couple of 10 pins showing. Ballard picks up his. Fernandez will miss his spare. One thing we have noticed about the B team is they are not as prompt. There's Gajewski up. They're not as prompt as the A team. The Vikings should be up there starting that 4th frame, but they're not. Gajewski gets 4 for the frame. That'll bring up Miro, the anchor bowler. And still no movement now. The lead bowler gets up. Miro gets 7 on his first ball. DeRoss gets 7 on his first ball in the 4th. And Miro will put it in the gutter. Brings up Duras. And he misses his spare. Now Martin up for the Cougars. And Martin strikes. Now sleeper for the Vikings and Guerin for the Cougars. Sleeper working on a spare. He gets 9 pins. Guerin will do a little back action and end up getting 5 pins on his first ball. There's sleeper. He will miss his spare. Guerin for the Cougars. He gets 6 for the frame. Fernandez up for Moriah. He gets 7. Now Baker. Baker with a strike. I believe that's a double for Baker. It is. Now Fernandez, got double wood included in that spare. And he will miss it all. And get us to Borey. Borey gets 7 pins. You got the same spare sitting there that Fernandez had. Kajewski up for the Vikings. And he gets 3 pins on his first ball. There's Borey. And he gets 2 of the 3. Give him a 9 for the frame. Moriah still leading by a few pins. Ballard for the Cougars gets 9 in his first ball. And Miro up for the Vikings. Gets 8 pins. Ballard will pick up a spare. $4.30 for the Cougars, and I'm not quite sure what the total is for the Vikings. Miro picked up the spare. You can see the numbers are kind of blocked out. And we'll show you the other side. You see absolutely nothing there. There's Martin. Martin with a strike. Gives him a double. Duras. That's 9 pins. And Duras will pick up the spare, but just barely. Get us to Guerin for the Cougars. And Guerin will get 6 pins. Sleeper. Sleeper gets 8. Now here's Guerin. Gets 2 more. Leaves 2. Sleeper, well, looks like he'll pick it up. No. he'll get 9 for the frame. Now here's Baker working on a double. And he'll leave a baby split on the right side. Fernandez with a real split. Looks like a 4-10. Baker get one of his 2, and Fernandez will miss it. Now Gajewski up for the Vikings. Gajewski had an open prior frame. He gets 7 pins. There's Borey. Borey also working on an open. He had 9 pins on his first ball. And Gajewski, a nice spare. Very nice spare. Here's Borey. And he will pick it up. There's Miro. And he gets, it looks like 8 pins. Bring up Ballard, and Ballard strikes. Jeremy Ballard with the strike for the Cougars. Since we can't give you a total in the 5th, although it's 5 something, 5 teams to 504. And a spare for Miro. DeRoss and Martin up. So somewhere around a 15-pin lead for Moriah going into the 6th. DeRoss gets 7 on his first ball. Martin gets 8 on his first ball. DeRoss was working on a double. And he gets an action off the wall to get the spare. And Martin will also pick up a spare. So DeRoss gets a little break there, picks up the spare. Sleeper up for the Vikings, and Guerin will be up shortly for the Cougars. Sleeper with the strike. Now Guerin. Guerin gets 9. Fernandez. He gets 7 on his first ball in the 6th. The girls are suddenly moving faster than the B-boys. They moved over here because the B-boys were ahead of the girls. But the B-boys have really been going slow here in the second game. Fernandez gets a pin. Here's Baker. Leaves a wall on the right side, a little picket fence there. Gets 6 on his first ball. Gajewski. Leaves an interesting little spare to pick up, getting 6 pins. And Baker will, looks like he'll pick that wall up. No, he misses the head pin. All except the head pin. Gajewski misses his spare. Goes to the left of it. There's Borey for the Cougars. Leaves the 10 pin. Miro, the anchor bowler for Moriah. It's 8 on his first ball. Moriah in the 570s. Cougars at 560. And Borey just missing the 10 pin. Just missing the 10 pin. There's Miro picking up, no, into the gutter. Into the gutter, so Ballard up for the Cougars, strikes, gives him a double. And I would say they're pretty darn close to being tied right now, as Martin will start the 7th frame with 9 pins. 597. And DeRoss gets 1 pin in his first ball. Now the Cougars are actually ahead here, by about 20 pins. Martin with the spare. There's DeRoss. DeRoss gets his spare. Guerin for the Cougars. He gets 9 pins in his first ball. Sleeper for the Vikings. Leaves a 10 pin. Guerin picks up his spare. Sleeper going after that 10 pin. He'll put it in the gutter. And a lot of that today. There's Baker. And Baker will pick off 5. Leaves a cluster in the 10 pin. Now Fernandez, his first ball is in there, leaving just the 10 pin. Baker, that 10 pin is the least of his worries. If he gets the other 4, I think he'll pick up the 10, and he does. That's 3 marks for the Cougars here in the 7th frame. There's Borey. Borey leaves a baby split. Fernandez had an open in the 7th. Gajewski up now for Moriah. Moriah with just 1 mark thus far in the 7th. Gajewski gets a strike, a late drop. Borey picks up his spare. So Gajewski had some late action, ended up getting a strike as we were moving the camera over to pick up Borey throwing his ball. So a badly needed strike for Moriah. I'll bring up Miro and Ballard. Here's Miro for the Vikings. Goes Brooklyn, gets 7 pins. Here's Ballard. He gets a strike. Jeremy Ballard with the strike for the Cougars. And it gives him a turkey. A turkey for Ballard. There's Miro and comes back and picks up the spare. That was teetering on the edge of the gutter. Teetering on the edge, but it came back and picked up the spare. DeRoss gets 8 in his first ball in the 8th, and Martin gets 6 in his first ball. Duras. Spares. Martin. Gets 9 for the frame. Gives him a 118 through 8. At this point, through 7, 643 to 673. 30-pin lead for the Cougars. Here's Sleeper for Moriah. 6 pins. And Garin gets 9 in his first ball. Sleeper gets 9 for the frame, leaves the 10. Garin misses his spare. There's Fernandez. Gets 9 pins. There's Baker. Baker with the strike. Fernandez going for his spare. Misses it. Bori. Gets 9 pins. Gajewski for Moriah. Picks off 8 pins. And Bori misses his spare. Cougars up by about 60 pins at the present time. Here's Gajewski. He misses his spare. Here's Ballard now for the Cougars. The anchor bowler picks off 8. He had a triple coming in. Miro now for the Vikings. Leaves the 10 pin. There's Ballard. He's going to miss it. Has an open here after 3 strikes. He has an open in the 8th. Gives him an even 143. Cougars with only 1 mark. Baker's strike, only 1 mark in the 8th. There's Miro. And he spares. So that's 2 marks for the Vikings. So the Vikings didn't fare a lot better than the Cougars in the 8th frame. Here's Duras starting the 9th for Moriah. Leaves the 4-7. Here's Martin. Martin picks off 9 pins in his first ball. He is working on an open. Duras was working on a spare. And Duras covers it. There's Martin. Puts it in the gutter, and he's going to have 9 for the frame. Gives him a 127 through 9. And he'll bring up Sleeper. Sleeper gets 7 on his first ball. Cougars with a 50-pin lead coming in. But they don't have a lot of momentum. Garin with 8 pins. Sleeper gets 8 for the frame. Sleeper a 118 through 9. Now Fernandez for the Vikings. Gets 7 pins. Here's Garand. Garand misses it. So another open for the Cougars here in the 9th. Garand has a 90 through 9. There's Fernandez. He gets 1 pin, so it gives him a 98 through 9. Baker, working on a strike, gets 8 pins. Nope, Fernandez has a 97. There's Gajewski. Picks off 3 pins. Baker going for his spare and gets it. Gets it. Not sure if that was the 3 pin that he bounced into the 10. I believe it was. Here's Gajewski, and he will get 7 for the frame. Moriah up for the Cougars. Moriah with a strike. Miro now for the Vikings. He gets 8 pins. And Ballard gets a strike. Miro, the last ball of the 9th frame, will pick up the spare. So it's 8:21 for Northeastern as Martin gets set to throw. In the 10th, he gets the strike. And DeRoss for the Vikings gets 7 pins. So that was about a 765 to 812, or something like that, coming in. Martin gets 9 pins on his first fill ball. Here's DeRoss looking for the spare to get a fill ball. He's going to get only 8 for the frame. Here's Martin. So let's see, DeRoss finishes with a 131. That's 11 pins over his 120 average. 147 for Martin, that's 17 pins over his 130 average. Here's Garand. And the girls are already into their 3rd game here as we're finishing up these boys. The boys have had very few strikes and not quick to toe the line. They've been very slow getting up to the line. Sleeper gets 7 pins. Garand gets 6 in his first fill ball. Sleeper carries a 136 average. Gets 9 pins for the frame. Gives him a 127. 9 pins below his average. Garand with the spare as Fernandez steps up. Garand finishes with a 110. Fernandez gets 8 pins. Garand carries a 121 average. Here's Baker striking. Ryan Baker with a 150 average. He'll be well over that. He's already got 154 plus the strikes. He's already got 164. Fernandez puts it in the gutter. So he'll have an open in the 10th. Baker with a strike. 3 doubles here in the 10th. Well, let's see. Gajewski up. Fernandez, a 122 average, gets a 105. Gajewski carries a 122 average also. There's Baker looking for possible 184. And he'll get a 183. So Baker, who carries a 150 average, gets a 183. Gajewski gets 9 pins in his first ball. Looks like Northeastern has about a 60-70 pin lead. They will take this second game of the B match. There's Borey. Borey gets 8. Borey carries a 145 average. He'll be under that in this game. Here's Miro now for the Vikings. Miro gets 9 pins, leaves the 10. Borey spares. That gives Borey a 120 plus the spare, gives him a 130 plus his fill ball. So Borey will be under his 145 average, but could hit 140 with a strike. Miro picks up the spare. There's Borey looking to get a 140, and he gets it. He gets the 140. That's just 5 pins. Nice comeback here to finish just 5 pins below his average. Miro, who has a 134 average, has got that beat. He strikes with his fill ball, so it gives him a 153. Ballard gets 9 pins on his first ball. 153 for Miro for the 19 pins over his average. However, the Cougars will win this by 60 or 70 pins. Ballard picks up the spare. Ballard carries a 161 average. He's already got a 173 plus this fill ball. So Ballard will get a 183. With 22 pins over his average. And the Cougars will win this second game over Moriah by, I'm going to guess, 70 to 80 pins. We'll move on to the girls now, who are already in progress in their third game. Okay, as promised, we're picking up action in the girls' game number 3. And Tugas is up for the Vikings, and Para for the Cougars. Tugas gets an open. Para will pick up her spare. We'll quickly give you the averages. Is Danielle Woods for the Vikings and Natasha Generou for the Cougars. Generou gets 1 pin on her first ball. Woods looking for her spare. And she will pick it up. Generou, she can first certainly spare in this one, and she does. Quickly now, Cassie Roberts, a 192 average. Danielle Tierney, 155. Megan Sorrell, 148. Laura Lee Para, a 137. And Natasha Generou, a 133. Sorrell is up, and she strikes. For the Vikings, Crystal Thompson, who is up right now, has a 109. Amber Cutting, a 109. Danielle Tugas, a 101. Jessica Drake a 94, and Danielle Woods 86. So the Cougars are spotting the Vikings a lot of pins. The Vikings have won only 2 games coming into today's match. They are 2-32 on the season. Tierney gets 8 pins on her first ball. Gets a chance as they're waiting for the crack help here at the Bowl Mart to fix up the lanes. See what's happening. Cassie Roberts has 3 strikes to start the 3rd game. Para has 2 opens and a spare. Generu 2 opens and a spare. Sorrell has 3 strikes to start, and Tierney had a strike, a split, or an open. She's got 8 pins here in the 3rd frame so far. So Roberts and Sorrell both working on triples, and Tierney will pick up her spare. Thompson now waiting to throw her second ball. They're resetting the pins. Apparently all the pins did not come down. Here's Thompson, and we're blocked out here. She gets a late drop in the 10, so she avoids the split. And we've got cutting for Moriah, leading off the 4th frame. There's Thompson, and she's going to miss her spare. Cutting needs to stay on the wood, and she does. Picks up the 6-10 spare. So that'll get us to Roberts, who has 3 strikes, and we'll see if we'll jinx her here. 3 strikes to lead off the 3rd game. And she's got 4 in a row, a 4-bagger for Cassie Roberts. Cougars up now, and she gets 5 on her first ball. There's Para. And Para gets, looks like 7 pins. And Cougars will pick up her spare. No, gets 7 for the frame. Para has 8 pins. There's no double wood there. I thought there might be. Para should pick this. No, it hooks. And she gets 9 for the frame. Through a curveball. And Woods is going to get 7 on her first ball. I'll get us to Generu. And Generu gets 7 pins. Nope, 6 pins. She's got 6 pins. Here's Woods. Woods covers her spare. Now Generu. Gets 9 for the frame. Thompson for the Vikings. Four, 7-10 split. Now Sorrell, who, like Roberts, came into the frame working on a triple. And Sorrell's going to go Brooklyn and leave the 10 pin. Left the 10 pin. Thompson misses everything. The teammate gives the familiar field goal sign. There's Sorrell going for the 10, and she will just pick it up. She was hooking there. Now Roberts. She's working on 4 in a row, and she's got 5. Cassie Roberts with 5 in a row. Tierney with a strike. This is Para. Para with a strike for the Cougars. Cutting up for the Vikings, and she gets 7 pins. We'll get us to Genero. We're in the 5th frame. And as we've said before, when we leave here, we have to go immediately to Shazy for girls basketball. They're going to start without us here. It's already 5:19. Hopefully, it won't be too far into the JVs when we get there. Cutting was trying to wish it over, but no luck. There's Generu, and she will get 8 for the frame. Now Tugas for the Vikings. Tugas strikes. Sorrell starts another. It's another strike. That's 4 strikes and a spare through 5. Here's Woods for the Vikings. And Tierney for the Cougars. Tierney gets 7. Woods got 6. Tierney, the anchor bowler for Northeastern. There's Woods. Gets 9 for the frame. Tierney will get 8 for the frame. Now Thompson up for the Vikings. And she strikes. Gets us to the lead bowler, Cutting for Moriah. She gets 6 for the frame. Excuse me, for 6 on her first ball. There's Roberts, who has 5 in a row. In a row for Cassie Roberts. She's halfway to a perfect one. Cutting. Chops off a pin, leaves 7. I'll get us to Para. Para's working on a strike. And she will leave the 10 pin. And get us to Tugas. Tugas gets 9 in her first ball. Para's going to hook and leave the 10. Tugas, what looks like the 4 pin to me, is got it. So she gets her spare. Generu up for the Cougars. Generu with a strike. There's Woods. Woods gets 8 on her first ball. Now Sorrell, who's had 3 strikes, a spare, and a strike. Leaves a 4-7. Woods. Woods will leave an open in the 6th. Sorrell will pick up her spare. So she is marked through the first 6 frames. Thompson up for the Vikings. And Thompson with a strike. Reminder, you're watching viewer-supported hometown cable. We're only here if you care enough to send in your contribution to support our efforts. We need to hear from you bowling fans as Tierney leaves the 4-7 on her first ball. It's just to Roberts. Roberts on 6 in a row. Left the 10 pin. Left the 10 pin. A nice string of 6 to start the game. Tierney will pick up her spare. Roberts will pick up her spare. Cutting for the Vikings. It's 8 pins. There's Para. Para with a strike. Cutting going for her spare. She covers it. Jenneru now. Nope. At 9 for the first ball. Here's Cougars. Cougars working on a spare. Leaves the 4-7. Jenneru covers it. Cougars going for her spare. Going to go into the gutter. Here's Sorrell. It's 9 in her first ball. Cougars about 120 pins ahead of the Vikings right now. Woods chops off 3 on the right side. Sorrell picks up her 7th mark in 7 frames here in this third game. Woods will miss all of them, and Tierney will get 9 in her first ball. Now here's Thompson. She has 9 in her first ball. Tierney picks up her spare. Thompson had 2 strikes coming into this frame. Looking for her 3rd mark in a row. And she will pick up the spare. And Cutting is up to start the 8th frame. And she starts it with a strike. Now Roberts at her first spare in the 7th. Looking to get back with the strikes. And she does. So a 10 pin between her and 8 strikes. Para leaves a 6-7-10. Cougars also leaves 3 pins. Cougars up by 100 pins. Without throwing another ball, Roberts already has 199 for the game. Para misses her spare. Cougars will pick up hers. In the 9th frame, Roberts carrying a 192 average. Generu gets 9 pins on her first ball. Here's Woods. She gets 9 pins. Generu gets the spare. There's Woods. Here's Sorrell. Leaves a 6 pin, almost had a split there, so she's smiling. She's marked in every frame. She wants to keep that up. Here's Thompson. Thompson with a strike in the 9th. There's Sorrell, and she will pick up her spare with little to spare. Now get us to Roberts in the 9th frame. 9th frame, Roberts. Leaves a 7 this time. Now Tierney. Finishing up the 8. She gets 3 on her first ball, or 7 on her first ball, leaves double wood and a 10. So Roberts has 219 through, oh, beautiful spare here by Tierney. Roberts has 219 through 9, with a spare going into the 10. There's Para. Seven pins, and cutting gets 4 pins. A counter here shows cutting with 6 pins. She's got 6 standing. So that counter was wrong. She left 4 pins standing. That counter was definitely wrong. There's Generu with 8. Para, in the meantime, had an open. Cougars gets 9. Generu will miss her spare. There's Sorrell in the 9th. Sorrell leaves a 7 pin. Cougars will miss her spare. Sorrell looking to mark again here. She's marked in every frame thus far. Here's her ball. She's got it covered. Woods picks up a strike. They'll bring up Tierney. Tierney will pick off 7 pins. Thompson up for the Vikings. Here's Tierney. Gets a spare. There's Thompson.
Since everything's already
and she'll get Looks like 7 pins. And cutting up to start the 10th frame. Cutting got nothing on her first ball. There's Thompson. She gets 8 for the frame. Cutting was working on an open, so she hasn't lost anything. She can still pick up the spare here. And it's out there, and she gets 9. And here's Roberts. Comes in here working on a spare. Carrying a 219 coming in. Gets the strike. Maybe a 229. She's looking to hit 259 possible. Cougars. A 7 on her first ball. Here's, let's see, a 134. Oh, a split for Roberts. A split for Roberts. Cougars gets 9. Roberts gonna get a 238, I believe. 248. 248. 248 for Cassie Roberts. Here's Woods. Gets 7 pins. Here's Para. Gets 9, no 8, left at 7 pin too. So let's see, we got Amber Cutting with a 109 averages, finishes with a 134. Danielle Tugas with a 101 average, finished with a 132. Danielle Woods with with an 86 average. Para puts it in the gutter. Woods with an 86 averages, finishes with a 101. Thompson gets a strike. Generu gets 8 pins. Let's see. Roberts with a 192 average gets a 248. Para with 137 average gets a 116. Generu carries a 133 average. She'll be right around there. Picks up the spare. Here's Thompson. Thompson gets 7 pins on her first fill ball. Generu, as I said, with a 133 average. Thompson carries a 109 average. Generu with a 133 is 24 pins, or average is 24 pins higher than the highest average for Moriah. Thompson, who carries that 109 average, hits a 154. That's a nice game for her. Here's Sorrell. Gets 7 pins. 154 is pretty good when you've got a 109 average. Only bowler left for Moriah is there's Sorrell. Oh, her first open. Her first open. She ends up with a 201. Her first open of the game. Oh, Tierney. Tierney strikes. It just occurred to me that Moriah is bowling with only 4 bowlers. Jessie Drake is not here, so she was a blind spot. Here's Tierney. It's 8:65 for the Vikings. Cougars have 10:37. Tierney covers it. So Sorrell, who carries a 148 average, gets a 201. Tierney, who carries a 155 average, gets a 167. Well, the Cougars take this third game from Moriah, and that's going to be it. We're heading for Shazy for basketball. Thanks for watching, and those of you supporting Hometown Cable's continuing efforts.